Secretary, please proceed to do roll call. I will now do roll call. Please select someone from your chapter, and when I call your school, please stand and tell me the number of members, state officers, and guests and advisors attending the conference. Otsego, Otsego AM, can you repeat that, please?
AM 2 members.
Okay, thank you. Otsego PM.
5 members.
Thank you. GVEP PM. Okay. GVEP AM. Southern Westchester BOCES AM. Thank you. Southern Westchester BOCES PM. Thank you. Kerr-Kermer BOCES AM. Thank you. Herkimer BOCES PM.
11.
GST BOCES AM. GST BOCES PM. Thank you. Cooper's Education Center.
4 members, 1 advisor.
Thank you. East High. Maxwell High School. Watch High School.
11 members, 2 guests, 1 advisor.
OCM BOCES. Southern Westchester. Flushing High School.
GSY 7 members.
St. Lawrence.
30 members, 3 chaperones, 1 advisor.
Clara Barton.
7 members, 3 advisors.
Cobble Hill.
1 member, 2 advisors.
John Dewey.
11 members, 1 advisor, 1 faculty.
Thomas Edison CT High School.
22 members, 3 state officers, 1 advisor, and 1 faculty.
Did I forget any schools? Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
GTS BOCES Wildwood, 2 advisors and 12 members.
GST BOCES, 2 members, 1 advisor.
Anybody else?
1 at the back.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody else? No? The grand total of attendees at the 2018 New York State Spring Leadership Conference is 315. Madam President. Can I please ask everybody to please quiet down? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Secretary. At 9:45 p.m. in Convention A to D, the House of Delegates will be held. This event is mandatory, so please be sure to attend. We will be having a guest speaker shortly, and we request you to please stay back, even if you have any other obligations after this. You will be accommodated. So if you have orientation, do not worry about it, or if you have to make up the achievement test, you will be able to do that after the House of Delegates. Also, if you are part of the Health Career Photography event, it is from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., not 11:30 p.m. Madam Parliamentarian, please review the Code of Conduct.
I will now review the Code of Conduct. 1. Please be sure to inform your family that you have rights here safe and sound. 2. No alcoholic beverages, drugs, or narcotics in any form shall be possessed or used at any time. 3. Smoking is not permitted. 4. Cell phones are to be turned off during all general sessions, tours, workshops, and business meetings, and placed at the center of the table face down. 5. Swimming is at the discretion of the local advisors and when a lifeguard is on duty. 6. Members are expected to attend all general sessions, business meetings, workshops, and other planned activities. Students need to keep their advisors informed of their whereabouts. 7. Students will not be allowed in the rooms assigned to the opposite sex for any reason. All conference delegates must sit next in their assigned rooms. 8. Curfew is at 11:30, which means you're in your room and quiet. 9. Please be respectful of the other paying guests while in the hallways. Do not run, congregate, or slam doors in the hall. 10. Any damage to the property of the hotel will be charged to the individual hostel member or the chapel that is responsible. 11. All conference attendees shall maintain a neat, clean, and attractive appearance at all times and present a proud image for HOSA. The HOSA uniform is appropriate for all general and special conference sessions, as well as business meetings and all meals. 12. It will be expected that all HOSA members will attend the award ceremony in HOSA uniform or business attire. 13. The HOSA achievement test was taken online. The makeup test is being offered only this evening from 9:45 to 11 in Cotillion 1. During the HOSA Achievement Award, you must attend all scheduled events and be signed off by a state officer to confirm that you attended the event. Also, you must take and pass the achievement test and recite the creed to a state officer. All achievement papers must be completely filled out, including your name, school, advisor, and region, and turned into Mr. Zula by 9 p.m. Wednesday evening, right here at the Convention Center A through B, which is where the karaoke game night is being held. 14. Tickets for the raffle basket will be sold throughout the conference. All proceeds will benefit our community service project, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I would now like to read a letter from our New York State Governor. Dear friends, it is a pleasure to send greetings to everyone gathered in Syracuse for the Spring Leadership Conference held by the New York State Health Occupation Students of America Future Health Professionals. We recognize the importance of a worthy organization that functions as outstanding resources for their members and acknowledge HOSA for its commitment to promoting the potential for leadership, personal growth, and career success among students throughout their health and wellness education. Since April 18, 1978, a milestone 4 decades ago, the New York State Association Region E of HOSA has been a network for young students training in health career programs with a wealth of information through its extensive offering of educational seminars, workshops, publications, and service learning projects. Over the next few days, HOSA members will have the opportunity to interact with each other to gain an understanding of best practices and learn about regional developments in healthcare. All the participants will get a good sense of many different choices that lie ahead in an exciting career as health professionals in the state of New York. With warmest regards and best wishes for an enjoyable and productive conference and a happy anniversary year, sincerely, Andrew M. Cuomo. Madam President?
Thank you, Madam Parliamentarian. I would now like to call Competitive Events Manager, Mrs. Rebecca Canoblo, to the podium.
Welcome everyone, I hope you're excited about the competitive events tonight and tomorrow. Just a few things I want to point out, that the healthy lifestyle and health education, the holding rooms are actually going to be down here in Convention C and D. That's not in your program, so please make note of that. No using cell phones in the holding rooms, that if it's reported back to health headquarters, you're going to be disqualified. There are 4 events running tonight from 7:30 to 11, extemporaneous writing, extemporaneous health poster, forensic med, and epidemiology. Make sure you review what you need to provide in your guidelines. Thank you, and that is all.
We would just like to make a quick note that if you do have a competition tonight, you do not need to attend the House of Delegates, but if you do have an orientation, or if you have to make a fee achievement test, please be sure to arrive here for the House of Delegates. It is mandatory. Only people who have an event will be excused. I would now like to introduce our guest speaker, Heather Schultz. Heather has worked with HBO, appeared in People magazine on numerous radio and television specials, and has co-authored several books for young people. Heather was also a performer in opening and closing ceremonies of the 1996 Summer Olympic Games. She has spoken in 49 states and 7 countries. She attended Central Michigan University and has a nursing degree. Heather is nationally renowned expert on youth issues and a highly requested speaker in constant demand. We are honored to have her here with us today. Please help me in welcoming Heather Schultz.
Let's give a big hand to your officers here. They have done an unbelievable job. Nicely done. All right. I am cracking up here. How many of you came up to me tonight, either there or over there, asked me for a refill, asked me to bring some almond milk, and asked me for more cream? It's been cracking me up. Sorry I wasn't able to help all of you, but hey, we'll get it next time, right? All right, well, hey, y'all. No, wait. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And when you say hey, y'all in the South, everyone says it back. So let me try this again. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. I'm not sure I heard the back. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. All right, let's try another one, okay? Y'all come back now, you hear? Hey, that's pretty good. See, by the end of tonight, I'm going to have you eating grits and watching NASCAR. I guarantee it. All right, clap once, twice, give me 3. And then I want you to say, I feel good. I feel good. Clap once, twice, give me 3. I feel good. Okay, we're going to have to work on that energy. We're going to have to work on that. Turn to your neighbor and say, bump it up, we're going for a ride. Fantastic. Pick up your chair, turn it so you are directly facing me. I don't want to see any backs. I don't want to see any back of any heads. I want you in this moment with me. So everyone turn your chair, get comfy, and make sure you can see up here. Awesome. Maybe that was the problem. Awesome. You know a little bit about me. You know my name's Heather. You know I'm from Georgia. Something you might not know about me is that I love dogs. Anybody else love dogs? Yeah. I love dogs. In fact, for years now, I have volunteered at this dog adoption center. Now, this is a center where you go in and you pull out a dog, you take him to a private room, you play with him, you decide whether or not you want to adopt him or her. So I would go and volunteer, and I would just play with the dogs, usually the ones that no one seemed to want to adopt. I'd go in and play with them and give them some love. So I arrived one day, and I was really surprised when the worker brought me the cutest dog ever. Just cute, cute, cute. And the worker handed me this dog and said, show this dog lots of love, because tomorrow she is being put down. My heart did exactly what your heart just did. My heart sang for this dog. So I'm thinking, I love this dog. It's so cute. Why couldn't this dog get adopted? And they told me that she was too friendly. Okay, I have to admit, she was a downright spaz, okay? But what do you think is going to happen when you spend your day in the cage? So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this dog needs a home. I can't take this dog home. I can't take. And I really didn't want to walk away from this dog. I hated doing that. I kept thinking, leaders don't walk away. Leaders don't walk away. But I did. I walked away that day with a new dog. And here is my baby. Isn't she the cutest thing? And her name is Belle. So Belle just brings our family so much love and so much joy. Now I guess you could say, I don't know, maybe I was in the right place at the right time. Healthcare workers are often the people that will be in the right place at the right time and for the right reason. You might be that nurse that walks into your patient's room when they are at their lowest. You will be with your patients during times of self-doubt and struggle. You will be with family members when they are desperately seeking answers and finding none. Have you ever heard there's no such thing as a small act? Everything you do as a healthcare provider can make a difference, matters. Every act of kindness counts. And I'm sure there's going to be times you go that extra mile for your patients, for their families, even your coworkers, and no one thanks you. Maybe they're too sick, too tired, too much pain. It's okay. Give anyways. Answer that call for compassionate care. Just like Belle, at some point in all of our lives, we are going to need grace. We are going to need to be rescued. We're going to need someone to walk into our lives to be that right person at the right time and for the right reason. At some point in all of our lives, most everyone is going to need health care, need compassionate care, will need you. Now you know a little bit about me. You know that my name is Heather, you know I'm from Georgia, you know that I like dogs. But something you might not know about me is that I'm a former EMT. I worked in Atlanta at on our inner city trauma unit. So I've seen a lot in my time. I'm also a certified CPR, AED, and first aid instructor. And I'm also an RN. I'm a registered nurse. My background is ER and trauma, but I currently work in occupational health. And then I also am a motivational speaker. So, you know a little bit about me. I want to take a moment and get to know you a little bit better. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a statement. If you can say yes to my statement, I want you to stand. If you can't say yes to my statement, then just stay seated. Now I want everyone in the room, no matter how much your or how many years your ID says you are, okay? No matter how old you are, I want everyone to join in. Okay, so stand if you can say yes, stay seated if you can't understand. You might stay standing, 2, 3 statements right in a row. But if you can say yes, you should be on your feet. All right, stand if you like grape Kool-Aid. Yeah, this is important stuff here. Stand or sit down if you are an athlete. Stand or sit down if you are an artist. Stand or sit down if you can speak a foreign language. Okay, but wait, folks. It's got to be more than just wee wee bon bon or the cuss words, okay? We all know the cuss words. Stand or sit down if you've ever traveled out of the country. Stand or sit down if you have ever drank milk right out of the carton. And that is so gross, by the way. Stand or sit down if you have brothers and sisters. Stand or sit down if you've ever been skydiving. Oh, knocked you out. Okay, got a couple folks in the back. That's on my bucket list. Stand or sit down if you believe that you are the future of healthcare. Give yourself a big round of applause. Huge round of applause and stay standing. Stay standing. So folks, right now you are applauding yourself. Well deserved, by the way. I totally agree, you are the future of healthcare. Now, with that said, you're applauding and standing. So in essence, you're kind of giving yourself a standing ovation. Again, well deserved. But let me tell you my version of a standing ovation. I call it the standing O. And it looks like this. Everyone do it? And then at the same time, to get the energy going, you have to go, oh! So 1, 2, 3, oh! One more time, everybody in the room, and hold that oh! 1, 2, 3, oh! Go ahead and take a seat. Give yourself another big round of applause. About me, Heather, the person, me, Heather, the speaker. I love enthusiasm. I love energy. And I don't know if somebody told you when you came into the room, make sure you're not talking. Make sure you're very polite. And you can be all of those things, but you can also be energetic. So I'm going to ask you again. Are you ready? Yes. Clap once, twice, 3. It's getting better. Getting better. It's what our universe operates on. I mean, look at us, standing, cheering on our feet, feeling the positive vibes. And what do we all have in common? The desire to deliver compassionate care. I love the field of healthcare. And get so excited when I can talk to students who have also chosen this amazing and rewarding future. Tonight I look at you as student leaders and future healthcare professionals. How does that sound? Pretty good? You see, once you enter this profession, you will never be the same. Your life will be forever changed. You will gain a new appreciation for life and a respect for death beyond that of the average person. You will see the best and the worst in the human spirit. And you will become a better, more compassionate person because of that. Once you start your studies to get your degree, your class load is going to sound something like this. Physiology, pharmacology, psychology, biology, chemistry, med-surg, maternity, pediatrics, orthopedics. The list just goes on and on. But when I was in school, we never had a class that taught us about compassionate care. No, in fact, back in the day, well, you know what? Let me just share with you me back in the day. Now, I gotta tell you something. Just know, short bangs and ringlets were really hot, okay? That's all I'm saying. Yep. So back in the day, we were actually encouraged to keep our distance from our patients. I remember during one of my clinicals, my instructor, Mrs. Anderson, called me out in front of all my fellow students. Now, Mrs. Anderson was kind of like a cartoon character. She was short, she was round, and she always wore those typical white nursing shoes, hose, and dress. And she used so much starch when she ironed her dress, y'all, it didn't move. It didn't crease. No, we would sit down in the nurse's station, and it took everything I had not to giggle. But when she would sit down, her dress, because it wouldn't move, would just kind of swallow up her face and come above her nose. And then she'd have to fight with it to get it down because it was so stiff. And she wore the little typical nursing hat with all these bobby pins to pull up her hair. And I don't know why, it just always annoyed me. Her bobby pins were white, and her hair was black. I don't know, that always bugged me, but I always remember Mrs. Anderson. And if she was a superhero, she would be known as the Weeder. Because she always told us students, "It is my job to weed through all of you who cannot make my cut." She was far from inspiring. So during one clinical, she called me out. And she said in front of all my students, "This one," as she pointed to me, "is a bleeding heart. Or may I be direct, a sucker." And I kind of looked at her and she said, "Remember, we are here to give medical care, not get involved with our patients." And I'm thinking to myself, how can we not? This is the maternity floor. So we got our assignments that day, and I was with a new mom, and no complications suspected, so it was an in-room delivery, so I'm in there, and I was mainly there just to observe. Now, the dad was also in there helping with the delivery and also videotaping this miracle happening. And so I found myself kind of running back and forth between the family, the hall, and back into the room. Well, she delivered a healthy baby boy, no complications. So I'm walking down the hall on my kind of post-delivery high when I see the father running right at me. And he still has the video camera recording, and he's running right at me. And he's narrating this recording as if he's talking to his son who was just born. And he says, this son is the nurse that just delivered you. I'm thinking, oh no, student nurse, that's it. I really did nothing, student nurse. And then he's hugging me and crying. He basically has me in a headlock at this moment, with the video camera still running. And he looks at me and says, "This is my first baby." And I said, "Me too!" Because it was. He must have been showing that video at the nurse's station because somehow my instructor saw it. And again, at the end of the day, she's gathering us up. She says, "Class, I want to remind you, we are here to give medical care, nothing else." Y'all, that was some of the best advice I never took. A recent study came out that was printed in the Canadian Medical Journal. And this was a study that spanned over 30 years. And researchers studied patients and their attitudes when it came to their health care. The proof is out. Positive thinking and compassionate care really does make you healthier and heals people. I've been a nurse for over 20 years. I've seen the best and the worst from both sides. Never underestimate the power you have to change a person's life, to heal their being. You are one person capable of making an immense and noble difference in the lives of many. But you've got to connect with your patients. When you give them their dignity. When you look into their eyes and hold their hands so they don't feel so alone. A smile, a gentle touch. Folks, believe me, you're going to learn how to put in an IV, how to do a dressing change, how to suction your patients. But these are the things you can do that are outside of the technical part of your job. When you deliver compassionate care, you are healing the places medicine cannot touch. Not only be compassionate, but also be a knowledgeable healthcare provider. But take responsibility for your own learning. Once you land that first job and you come home at night, do research on the cases you had that day and the ones you will have tomorrow. You will never learn everything you need to know in school. In fact, I believe most of your learning will be on-the-job training. Your workplace will suddenly become your classroom, and everyone in it a teacher. So learn everything you can, because your learning doesn't stop after graduation, once you get your degree or your certifications, or even once you start your first job. Commit yourself to be a lifelong learner. Learn everything you can about your field of study so you can become the most knowledgeable and compassionate healthcare provider you can be. The ability to learn is a skill, but the willingness to learn is a choice. I believe most people go into the healthcare field because they really do want to make a difference. So don't let anyone or anything stop you from doing just that. Have you ever found yourself saying, oh wow, I'd really like to try that, but I wish I could do that, but oh wow, that would be so cool, but folks, that might be your problem. You got to get out of your own butt's way. And you know, every butt is different, every butt is personal. Your butt might be, but I'm not strong enough, smart enough, popular enough, pretty enough, independent enough. Folks, set aside self-doubt. Get out of your own butt's way and know that you are enough. But I get self-doubt. We all feel it. I remember the day I took my state board exam. Now, the rumor amongst all of us students was, if your computer stopped after 75 questions, you failed. You were done. What it meant is that it only took 75 questions for them to realize you didn't know what you were doing. So I'm at the computer, taking one of the most important tests of my life. Question number 73. Question number 74. Question number 75. I clicked my answer and hit submit. Boom, my computer shuts off. Across the screen it says, you are done. I did what most any of us would do. I burst out sobbing. I was crying so loud they had to ask me to leave the building because I was interrupting everybody else taking their test. I got in the car, cried the entire way home. Y'all, I was crying so hard, I rear-ended the car in front of me at a stoplight. Get home, pull in the driveway, run right inside, pick up the phone, and I call the state board nursing office. And I said, ma'am, I need information on how to retake my state boards. And she said, well, you should have gotten that information with your failure notification. I said, well, I haven't actually gotten that notification yet. And she said, well, when did you take your exam? I said, about an hour ago. And she says, I could just feel her coming through that phone and her gentle nature. That conversation kind of changed, and she said, oh, darling, everyone thinks they failed. Just give it some time. So I did. Now, back in the day, we didn't get our results right away. We had to wait weeks before we got our results. But sure enough, I got a letter in the mail, and it came from the Georgia Board of Nursing. I ripped open that envelope, and right across the top, congratulations, you have passed. I guess it only took 75 questions for them to realize I did know what I was talking about. And finally, I could put those two letters I had worked so hard for, behind my name, RN. Don't be so quick to doubt yourself or your ability. But I do understand self-doubt. Don't we all feel it from time to time? Absolutely. The problem, though, with self-doubt is when it paralyzes you, traps you into who you think you are instead of who you hope to become. And it is one of the biggest obstacles to achieving your goals and living the life that you truly deserve. But I get self-doubt. When I was 15 years old, sophomore in high school, I was diagnosed with diabetes. Now, most of you probably understand that diabetes is a chronic and serious disease that, if not treated, can be a deadly disease. Now, being diagnosed with a serious disease is hard, especially for a teenager. It was very difficult. I'd been out of the hospital a few weeks. My mom asked me to run into the grocery store to pick up some milk. So I'm in the milk aisle, I'm staring at all these milk choices, and to be honest, I was confused. Have y'all ever thought about how many milk choices we have today? I mean, think about it. We have fat-free, skim milk, 1%, 2%, whole milk, chocolate milk. I mean, we have some high-achieving cows out there. We really do. So I turned to this woman next to me and I said, "Ma'am, I just found out that I have diabetes. I don't know what milk to buy." The look on her face shocked me. Pure pity. I thought this woman was going to cry for me. She put her hand on my arm and she said, "Oh, sweetheart, I will pray for you that you can live a normal life." Normal life. This was the first time I saw how other people saw this disease, my disease, normal life. Up until that moment, I hadn't thought diabetes would keep me from achieving anything in my life. Anything. And honestly, that moment scared me. Because like all of you, I had big dreams and plans for my future. That was a pivotal moment in my life. I had a choice. Now I could, and thinking about that, the seeds of self-doubt had been planted. But I had to make a choice. Right then and there. I could give in to what that woman's perspective of me was, or I could focus on becoming who I hoped to become. To this day, diabetes has never stopped me from doing anything. I never use it as an excuse or see it as an obstacle. Yeah, folks, when life gets tougher, that's just when you get stronger. So, I put aside that lady, and I put aside self-doubt, and I went on to have a great high school experience. Now, I played basketball, I was a cheerleader, I was on student council, I had lots of friends, I graduated, went to college, and then after college, I met a man. And he was tall. Ooh, is what you're supposed to do. Ooh. He was handsome. Ooh. And he was dark. Ooh. And he put a ring on it. Yep. And I knew I always wanted to be a mom. So shortly after we got married, I think it was like 2 years into our marriage, we found out that we would be starting our family. And I was so happy, I was thrilled. But I ended up having a very difficult pregnancy. Now, being pregnant for a diabetic can be very difficult, sometimes even fatal. I did everything I could to have a healthy pregnancy. Ate right, took my medicine, saw my doctors, but I still had a very difficult pregnancy. From day one, physically and emotionally. Emotionally, I was a wreck. I cried every single day during my pregnancy. I remember one time I went to the refrigerator to get a glass of milk, and there was this much milk left in the container. What do y'all think I did? No, I didn't cry. I sat down on the kitchen floor and sobbed like a baby. Yes, I was a wreck. And physically, I had a very difficult pregnancy. I was hospitalized over 26 times. Had a central line feeding tube put into my body just to keep me alive. And at 24 and a half weeks into my pregnancy, because of my diabetes, I developed a life and death medical condition. I went into kidney failure. Doctors told me in order to save my life, in order for my unborn child to have any shot at life, they were going to have to perform in an emergency C-section. Now remember, y'all, I wasn't even 6 months into my pregnancy. When my child came into this world, weighing just over 1 pound. She was so small, she fit into the palm of my hand. And the doctors gave her 2 hours to live. It's really difficult to imagine how small she really was and what I'm talking about. Here's a picture of her. Still kind of hard to imagine. Look at this one. You can see right there she is, attached to all those cords and tubes and wires. And if you notice, there's a Beanie Baby. That Beanie Baby's almost bigger than she is. And folks, here's that Beanie Baby. Doctors gave her 2 hours to live. I remember asking to be alone with her. I went into the neonatal intensive care ward where they were keeping her alive in this little glass incubator. She was laying on just one side of her face and she hadn't opened her eyes yet. And I remember I was standing over the top of this incubator, this glass incubator, and tears were just pouring out of my eyes. It looked like it was raining on her. And I just started talking to her. I said, sweetheart, if you're hurting, if you're in pain, and you need to let go, you just can't do this, it's okay. I'll be okay, Daddy. We'll be okay. But if you want to fight this fight, I want you to know this. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there every step of the journey. And the best way for me to describe what happened next is she didn't just open that one eye. She shot open that one eye and looked right at me. I knew what she was saying, loud and clear. Mama, bring it on. And as I watched her, attached all these cords and tubes and wires, every breath for her was a struggle. Her survival and her life was not guaranteed. She had no escape plan. Her only plan was to fight. And I knew I had to do the same. I don't want you to ever doubt. Know this. She fought hard. She fought strong. She gave this everything that little 1 pound body could possibly give. Those 2 hours went by. 2 weeks went by. 2 months went by. She ended up spending 4 months in an incubator. But I'm happy to tell you, she's home, happy, healthy, and very much alive. And her name is Liberty Alexis Schultz. I will be forever grateful to all the doctors and nurses and respiratory therapists, my family, my friends, everyone who channeled their positive energy into Liberty's life. My village rally. And soon, you're going to be part of that medical village. I remember just a couple days, or actually just shortly after I had given birth to Liberty, I was in my hospital room, alone, in my bed, crying. I was very sad. My nurse came in and asked me how she could help me. She wasn't asking me if I needed medicine or if I needed a drink. She was asking, how can I heal you? What can I do to show you compassion? And I remember telling her I was just sad because I hadn't even seen my baby yet. I just want to see my baby. She went downstairs to security and borrowed their Polaroid camera. She went upstairs to the neonatal nursery, and through the window, she took a picture of Liberty and brought it back to me. Might seem like a small gesture, but remember, every act of kindness counts. I slept with that picture, and that picture got me through some of the toughest days of my life. I witnessed the powerful impact of patient-centered care and the healing capacity of compassion. I will be forever grateful to that nurse for healing the places in me that medicine can't even touch. Forever grateful to her. But I get self-doubt. I had to set aside self-doubt and feelings of guilt so that I could become the mom I wanted to become. And oftentimes I've had to set aside self-doubt to become the nurse I wanted to be. I'll never forget how scared I was walking into my first patient's room. How many people here can remember that moment? Walking into your first patient's room. Wow. I was so scared. I was thinking, can I even do this? Can I even live up to everyone's expectations? My heart was racing, my mouth was dry, my knees were knocking, my pits were sweating. I set aside self-doubt and I walked in. I spoke those words I had been waiting so long to say. Hi, I'm Heather. I'll be your nurse today. See, folks, I wasn't a student nurse. I wasn't going through orientation. I was a real nurse. Hi, I'm Heather. I'll be your nurse today. Oh, that felt so good. Felt so good. And soon you will be experiencing that. But you know what my thoughts are? Why do we have to wait? I want you to turn to the person next to you. I want you to introduce yourself, whatever field you're going into. Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. Hi, I'll be your PT. I'll be your therapist today. Hi, I'll be your nurse. On your mark, get set, go. Felt pretty good, huh? Remind yourself, that's what you're striving for. A moment like that. Now, is the thought of putting yourself out there, taking a risk, trying something new, so scary, so overwhelming, that sometimes you don't even want to try? Folks, there is no success without trying. Trying is a requirement for success. So when your instructor asks for a volunteer, be the first one to volunteer. When the lab opens for you to practice your clinical skills, be the first in line. If a doctor is performing a procedure and he speaks those magical words, anyone want to try? Whoa, take advantage of that learning moment. Take advantage of every learning moment. I remember when I was in school to become an EMT, we were learning how to put in IVs. My instructor taught the steps, and then he turned to the class and he says, all right, who wants to try? At that moment, our eyes locked, and I knew I was up to bat. So he handed me the supplies, I prepped the area, and then he stuck out his hand. His hand. I was doing my very first IV on my instructor's hand. I'm thinking, wait, where's the fake body part? Where's that fake rubber hand? No. So I prepped the area, I cleaned it, I advanced the needle slowly, but I went too far and blew the vein. Caused a huge hematoma on the back of, yes, my instructor's hand. But being the sweet man that he was, he turned to the class and he said, and class, that is why we call it practicing medicine. Folks, There is no success without trying. Of course, you want to minimize the risks, but you got to put yourself out there. You've got to be willing to try. You know, why is it though that when we hear the word fail, we automatically have these negative thoughts? We need to see failing for what it is. It's an opportunity to learn and to grow. It's a second chance. Fail. F-A-I-L. First attempt in learning. There is no success without trying and without sometimes even failing. I'm one of those people though, I don't mind failing. I actually find it kind of exciting because it means, wow, this just means I'm one step closer to getting it right. I'm one step closer to success. And just imagine what you have when you fail. You have something nobody else is going to have. That's experience and knowledge. So the next time you try, you're going to know better. And when we know better, that's when we do better. When I was in high school, I wanted nothing more than to be on the track team. Anybody here on the track team? Yes, okay. I wanted nothing more than to be on the track team. Not because I like to run. Actually, I don't like to run. But there were really cute boys on my track team. And I wanted to be able to ride the bus to the away meets with the really cute boys. So I joined the track team. But I soon discovered there's more to track than just wearing those cute little shorts or those awesome shoes. I mean, those spikes added like 3/4 of an inch to my 5-foot frame. No, I discovered being on the track team meant you'd have to run on purpose. And then you'd sweat on purpose. And yeah, I don't like to run, but I hate to sweat. And I'm not a pretty sweater. I don't sweat like a lady. I don't do that pretty glistening thing. No, I sweat everywhere. Even my knees sweat. Oh, I hated that. I hated that. But I joined the track team. Did I happen to mention that there were really cute boys on my track team? And I wanted to ride the away bus? I was really excited about joining the track team. Had no idea what event I was going to do because I've never done this. No idea what I was going to even be good at. So I said to myself, you know what? Try every event. You'll figure it out. So I did. I did the long jump, the high jump. I even did the hurdles. Have y'all ever thought about hurdles? I mean, really thought about hurdles? There's this obstacle in your way, in your path. And in track, they want you to run as fast as you can to that obstacle and then jump it. Why? I mean, really? Why? I mean, wouldn't most people just go around it? Right? I mean, seriously, y'all, think about this. If you were in the grocery store and someone's walking in front of you, they don't jump on them. Made no sense to me. And for a 5-foot person, hurdles really kind of defy common sense. They really do. So I went to the officials and I asked them what the height of the hurdle couldn't be adjusted to the height of the person. Right? So if my hurdle based on my 5-foot frame was like all the way down here, heck, I could do that. I could step over that. But no, they weren't having it. You know, I realized that the track world is kind of unfair to short people. Isn't the world kind of unfair to short people? I mean, you have to be this tall to even ride a roller coaster. I mean, you gotta hand it to us short people. Literally. Like everything. Jeans at Old Navy, cereal off the top shelf, things out of the top of your locker. Yeah, so officials wouldn't lower the height of the hurdle, so I decided to move on. And I moved on to, shot put. Now, if you don't know what shot putting is, they give you a heavy, solid steel ball and ask you to throw it. Why? Right? Always my question. Why? So my short shot put career looked like this. I walked to the event location, 2 men, a measuring tape, and a long field. And they handed me this heavy steel ball. Now with shot put, you're supposed to hold the ball up here, and you're supposed to like make this pose. And you're supposed to spin around a couple times, and then hoist it through the air. None of that happened. Hand me the ball, I could barely even pick this thing up. Now, the high school record for girls shot putting is 58 feet and 1 1/4 inch. I could barely even pick the ball up. So I got the ball down here on the ground. I'm kind of in this position. It reminded me like granny bowling. That's when I said, hey, yeah, just do a granny bowl. So I took that shot put and I let it just kind of roll out of my hands. And my record, y'all, was 4 inches. I realized I wasn't going to get any medals in shot put, so I moved on. So now I'm in the middle of a race, and to be honest, I was very distracted because I was off flirting with a really cute boys. When I saw these runners kind of lining up, I'm thinking, okay, the race is going on. Then I heard my coach yelling, Heather, line up. Come on, you're in this race. I'm thinking, what? I didn't know what this race was. I had no idea I was even in it. So I'm taking off my sweats. I'm trying to stretch as I go to the line. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what is this race? Okay, it's got to be one. Yep, it's got to be the 1/4 mile. And that's once around the track. So we line up. Gun goes off. I'm from Atlanta. When a gun goes off, yeah, you do one of 2 things. You either take cover or you run. So I took off running as fast as I could. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Heather, this is once around the track. Just give this everything you've got. So my arms are pumping. I'm coming around the corner. I'm actually approaching the finish line. And I realized, oh my goodness, everyone is behind me. There's no one in front of me. I am actually winning. Folks, I have no experience at this. I have come in last every single time in every single event. I was actually winning. So I said to myself, this is your moment, take it. Take it. So I crossed the finish line, threw my arms up in the air, threw my head back, crossed the line like I'm some Olympic athlete. Something funny happened. All those other runners, yes, they kept going. It wasn't the 1/4 mile. It was the full mile. They weren't losing, they were pacing. I had 3 more laps to go. But because I had given everything in that first lap, I was done. I was spent. Y'all, I ended up walking those last 3 laps. And yes, I came in last again. But you know what? Sometimes out of your successes and your failures, opportunities present themselves. My coach came up to me the next day at school. Said, you know what? Don't think track is going to be your thing. I'm thinking, yeah, right, I know. And he said, but you know what? We really like your can-do attitude and your willingness to try. We want you to be the team manager. And I said to him, okay, do I get to ride the bus? He said, yeah. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't have to run, I don't have to sweat, and I ride the bus. Done, I am your manager. And you know what? I made a good manager because of what I had, that experience and knowledge. No one else had run every single event. Even though I came in last every time, I had that experience and knowledge. Failure is a requirement not only to success, but in life. I want y'all to make some noise for me. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Let's get some energy going here. How many of you have ever taken a test and failed? How many of you have ever gone out for a sport and failed? How many of you have ever tried out for the school play or ran for office and failed? That's all right, babe. I'm with you. How many of you have ever put everything you had into a relationship and it failed? See, folks, failing is part of life. You're still standing. Failing is a requirement in life. Just make sure you learn and grow from every failure. Now, folks, is all of this, putting yourself out there, taking a risk, getting out of your own butt's way, trying something new, going to be easy? No, it's not. You're going to feel awkward sometimes. How many of you ever feel awkward? How many of you feel awkward every day? Absolutely. You know what I like to say? Let's just be beautifully awkward together. Folks, I want to make sure you're connected to me and to my message. So remember, first, get out of your own way. Second, try something new so you can learn and grow and become the best healthcare professional you can possibly be. And third, above all, answer that call for compassionate care. I'm going to put up my social media. I'd love it if y'all give you permission to turn those phones over. Go ahead and follow me on social media because I would like to know what you're doing in the healthcare field, what difference you're making, how you are showing compassion. And then also, if you would like to contact me, I do have some biggest business cards you're ever going to see. If you want to contact me, if you're planning an event, a conference, want me to come to your school and speak, let me be that speaker for you. And then also, I bought just 10 copies of my book. It's called Live Extraordinary. Every chapter is a different life lesson that I wanted to share with all of you. If you would like one, you can get them at Barnes & Noble's for I think $18 and Amazon, but I sell them after I speak for $10 if you would like one. Love to have you read it and just let me keep passing on things and life lessons I have to share. I would like again for the state officers to please stand up. Let's give them another big round of applause. Nicely done. Nicely done. It's funny how this all happened, how I ended up here. You guys can see. It's funny how I ended up here. I called a classroom. There's usually phones in the classroom, and sometimes you never know if they're going to answer or not answer. And this girl, I obviously was a student, answered the phone. And I said, well, I'm looking for your advisor. Oh, well, she's not here. What can I help you with? And she was very together. And I was like, okay. So and I love it when I can connect with students, because that's truly, I mean, you all know why I do what I do. So her and I started talking, and she's like, oh, wow, that sounds great. That would be great if you could speak. I don't really know how to make it happen, but I'm going to go figure this out. And she did. She followed up and went out and made it happen. I remember talking to her once on the phone. She didn't even know it, but I was in the TJ Maxx dressing room. It's like my second home. And we're sitting here talking and stuff, and she made it happen. So Nicole, thank you. And here's a copy of my book. Thank you. Let's give Nicole a big round of applause. Sum it up like this, folks. You're going to be one of two things to this world and in your profession. You are either going to be a contributor or a contaminator. You're going to either add good to this world and leave it better off, or you're going to add bad into this world and leave it worse off. But here's the thing.
you don't get to opt out. You will leave something behind. You will leave a mark on your patients. You will leave your patients with a memory. You will leave a legacy. Let's just make sure it's a good one. When you walk into your patient's room and ask, "Can I help?" mean it. Take time to listen. Deliver compassionate care and understand that your patients are not a caseload. They are people. They are someone's mom, someone's dad, someone's son, daughter, brother, sister, friend. Treat them as such. And appreciate the fact that you get to be with your patients at one of their most vulnerable times. And understand what a privilege it is to escort some people into this world and then also see others out. I have never regretted becoming a nurse. I've always felt like I was making a difference. I can't wait to hear and see what all of you do as healthcare professionals. I want to be the first to be able to say, "Hey, welcome to this field." And I look forward to calling you colleague. I'm going to be here tonight, hanging around a little bit. I fly out at 5 a.m., but I'm going to stay around a little bit tonight. I'd love to meet all of you and hear what you're doing and what you're going into and just have that opportunity to connect. I'm not a speaker that likes to speak and then fly off the stage and you never see me. No, I want to connect with you. So I'm going to be hanging out for a while. If you got a postcard or a book, or let's do a picture or something, but let's connect. Y'all, thank you for showing me such warmth and kindness and respect tonight. Thank you. I give you a standing ovation. Thank you.
There's no red button on that.